So welcome. My name is Steve Jackson. I'm the Senior Vice President of Strategic Development and Channel Sales here at PrimePay, and we are thrilled to have you and to talk about this specific content here with you today. The title is Measurement Madness, Making ACA Reporting Easy. And I know many of you right now are going, easy? Really? Steve, easy? Oh, you're going to make it easy? Yes, we are. So we will make it easy, or at least I think get you a little closer to easy anyway. For those of you that are just joining us, brand new, we've got a lot of new faces, if you will, here in regard to our webcast here today. So just to lay out a little bit of the agenda, the most common question that I receive is, are you recording this? Will we get the presentation? And the answer is always yes to both. We are recording this webinar here today, and what we will end up doing, as has been our custom, is that by the end of the week, we should have a link to you for the recording, a presentation deck of the slides that I'm going through today, which I think you'll find extremely helpful today, and then any other additional content, so maybe there's some broker concierge briefs that we can send out. We generally do a frequently asked questions list, so do know that we will get all of that information out to you, I think in a very, at least a very timely manner, but we'll get you all of the content that you need. So as we get started here today, we've got this measurement madness, right? As you think about ACA and all of its pages, the 2,000 plus pages, right, that filled the bill, there was a good deal of time in regard to a couple mandates. One certainly being the individual mandate that you all are very familiar with, and then secondarily, and very importantly, is the employer mandate. And within the employer mandate, not only is it just, are you a large employer, but it's all the requirements if you are a large employer and the impact that these requirements make. In fact, I don't know if many of you had seen or had read the information from the CBO office, or the Congressional Budget Office, came out with a report just yesterday, and it was reported widely here this morning, but just talking about that the total number of hours worked, what their estimate is going to now fall an additional 1.5 to 2%. This reduction was about twice the agency's estimates when they announced it back in 2010. A lot of these reduction in total number of hours worked has a lot to do about this specific employer mandate. And so you've got Republicans certainly discussing it right now, chomping at the bit with some of this report from the CBO, and certainly Democrats are fighting it the other way. And so there's going to be much discussion in the coming weeks and months in regard to the employer mandate, and specifically to these measurement periods that I'm going to talk about today. One of the things that has been on my mind over the last several months is getting to you all a better understanding as to how you should be directing your clients. Each of your clients are different. Each of them renew their health insurance, their medical plans all throughout the year, right? And so maybe recommending a certain measurement period, might be good for some, but it may not be good for all employers. And there may not be actually a just one size fits all. I clearly don't believe that will be the case. But time will tell here as we continue to go down this road as to what these measurement periods look like. And I wanted to really take a deeper dive with you today about these measurement periods to give you as much practical strategies as we can in regard to really equipping you more so here with your clients. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want you to be able to get to your clients and really advise them in the appropriate manner. So as you look at a lot of these questions, I mean, clearly these are all key areas that we're going to cover here today, but real specific here is in regard to the measurement periods. Who needs to comply? I mean, as part of our agenda here today, we do need to handle at least a review of some of the basics. I do not want to get too granular in regard to the basics, but I definitely want a level of a kind of a foundation level for you all here today as I dig deeper then into the measurement period. So let's set the stage there with a quick review, and then we're going to dive into some case studies. And what I will introduce you with today is 3 different case studies. 3 different looks and feels with 3 different employers and what these measurement periods might look like, okay, at the end of the day. Top items for consideration with your clients. What we ultimately want to try to leave you with are some key thought tracks in regard to your conversation with employers here over the next, the next coming months. I would like if each of you, and I know you are at your computer here right now, I would like to launch a poll question, okay? And I'd like you to take a look at the poll question there a second, and what each of you can do is go to your computer and click on the answer. Before we get going here in taking this deeper dive with measurement periods, let's answer this question, if you will, because I'd kind of like to get your perspective. As a value-added offering, do you expect your agency will perform the calculations of the measurement periods on behalf of your clients? Yes, no, or just really unsure at this time? Let's just take just a few more seconds here. You can just go right onto your computer there, click on your answer to submit your answer. We'll just go here just another few seconds. Guys are doing great. All right, we've got the vast majority of you actually have answered. So let me close that here. All right. So as I share just the answer here, you guys can see how you might stack up, here from an industry-wide level. So as a value-added offering, do you expect your agency will perform the calculations of the measurement periods on behalf of your clients? And about 46% say unsure at this time, with about 33% saying yes. And 22% no. So very interesting. I think there is still a lot of confusion in regard to what needs to be done with your clients. How do you, as a benefits professional, ultimately get involved, stay involved, advise, consult? Where are you kind of in that mix? Well, I'm here to say that you guys are greatly involved with this. Maybe not necessarily from an admin level, but really driving a strategy that is going to best fit their needs. I think that's where your best fit ultimately is going to be. So let's go ahead and review some of the basics. Who needs to comply? Okay, so as we look at the employer mandate, and again, I know you all mostly understand certainly the employer mandate, so let's just quickly put it in one sentence here, beginning with plan years effective in 2015, employers with 50+ full-time employees or full-time equivalents must offer medical coverage that is affordable and provides minimum value to full-time employees and their dependents up to age 26 or face penalties, right? So what, the employer mandate is all about this 50+, okay? And if you have full-time equivalents that exceed that, then you're in this pay or play type of a mode, okay? So let's take this a step further. So that's the mandate. One of the first things that must be determined is whether you are a large employer. But one of the other notices that I am going to cover, and actually a lot of the information that is displayed is based off of Notice 2012-58. But it is what the IRS and HHS wanted was, okay, employer, I would like for you to certainly monitor and measure those variable hour employees because we want to ensure whether you are offering coverage or not, okay? And so notice 2012-58 really spells out the additional transitional relief rules to really the requirements of the measurement periods that I'm going to discuss. So one of the first things, again, just to lay a foundation, because many of you might say, well, do all employers need to perform these measurement, activities? No. But if you're a large employer, or if you're considered an employer that's on the bubble, let's say between 40 and 50 or just above 50 in that range, you are absolutely going to need to perform these measurement periods with each of the variable hour employees and with the workforce. So let's look at a company here. We've got Creative Scapes. All right, hang on a minute. All right, thank you for your questions. I hope that helps. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you. Saw the firing questions through there. Thank you. So if you're a large employer, actually, I'll back up here just 1 second then. So I do apologize. I still have the poll questions still showing. Just quickly here, I had just read this statement in regard to the employer mandate, and then notice 2012-58. So you can certainly write that down. That is a key notice from the IRS that really really provides the model for how employers should measure, their employees. So thank you for doing that. Are you a large employer? So we're going to look at just briefly here, just a company. This isn't going into the case studies, but just to provide a basis for calculating large employer, so we're all on the same page. Creative Scapes, it's a landscaping company that has 40 full-time employees, 20 part-time employees, and a large number of seasonal hourly employees that work during the summer months. Okay? So as you guys are aware, certainly at this point we've got the 40, but then we need to add up the total part-time hours per month. We divide that by 120, and when we do that calculation, that comes to 14.3. Now, seasonal hours, if it's less than 120 days or fewer than 120 days, we do not need to include them, so those would be removed. And so as we look at the result of this particular employer, even though there's 40 full-time employees, when we calculate the part-time hours, we actually come up with 54 full-time equivalents, okay? And Creative Scapes is considered a large employer. Now, we won't go into the whole debate, right, or the decision process that Creative needs to make as far as pay or play, but now the employer mandate is in their face. It is right there, and so the requirements, whether they offer or not offer coverage, is critical. I mean, to their decision, what they're going to offer, what kind of penalties would exist if they choose not to, right? So the basis here is that a large employer needs to be determined. One of the first things that needs to be done is if an employer clearly is on that bubble, or even if they look at their number of full-time employees and it's under 50, but clearly, they have a lot of part-time, they need to calculate those part-time hours to determine whether they're going to exceed that 50 plus and be considered a large employer. So as we look at measurement periods, and we kind of define this here just a little bit more, I guess one of the first words that I should have put there is all. All large employers must track their employees. You might ask, well, I mean, all large employers? Yeah, all large employers must track their employees. Because guess what? The IRS, through their verification process, will be performing audits. So as an individual, an employee of a company goes and purchases or enrolls in coverage through healthcare.gov, receives a subsidy of some kind, well, the IRS needs to do their audit work to ensure, well, hey, individual, was your employer offering coverage? Are they a large employer? Are they offering affordable coverage? And the audit will come to that employer ultimately, and the employer is going to the need will be to reflect from the employer side, well, hey, listen, I've been tracking my employees, and this employee here, is under 30 hours, so I didn't have to offer them coverage, right? So it will be very prudent for all large employers to track their employees. So let's just go through some information here. So we got 30 hours per week, or at least 130 hours per month. Include the hours worked and hours paid but not worked. So we're still including the vacation, the leaves of absence, the sick days, and so forth. So So, you know, I'm getting a lot of, actually, I'm just looking briefly over to some questions, and I think some of you are seeing, you know, you're seeing 130 hours per month, but in my calculation of full-time, I used 120 hours. That is correct. No error there. So when you do and perform the calculation for a large employer, you will use the number 120 in a month and not 130, okay? The three main phases for employers for ongoing and newly hired employees. So the three main periods that, again, was created by the IRS as a model, just like Department of Labor provides model notices for COBRA and so forth. This is a model that's brought forth. Now, as you go through it and you start implementing it, it is something that certainly can be used. It's a solid model for employers to use to measure their employees. And there's three different types of phases or periods, if you will. You have the standard and / the initial measurement period. Secondly, the administrative period. And then lastly, the stability period. So let's dive into it here. We'll take this just a little deeper here in regard to these periods. So the standard initial measurement period. Let's first focus on the standard measurement period. The standard measurement period is for ongoing employees, okay, or your current employee base, not a new hire, but your ongoing employees. And you're going to have a large number of employees that are going to fit that specific period. Okay, the initial measurement period, as it's stated within the notice, is for new employees, so new hires. Okay, so you actually will have, and I'll show you in the examples here, you actually have two types of measurement periods. You have a standard measurement period that is a set. It's on the same date. It spans the same time each and every year, and that's called the standard measurement period for the ongoing employees. And then you have a new hire initial measurement period, which will also be a set time, but it's going, based on when you hire that employee. These measurement periods are just going all throughout the year, right? And they're going to be going or running concurrently with the standard measurement period. So let's just look at a few of the bullet points here at least. So this standard initial measurement period needs to at least be 3, but no more than 12 months in length, okay? The categories I listed here, what I mean by that is you are able to change your standard measurement period based on these 4 specific categories. So generally speaking, when you institute any, new benefit offering and so forth, you need to be consistent, right? So thinking if you're an employer, you have one location, there's no union, non-union, nothing like that. I mean, you would establish one standard measurement period. Okay, but if you're a larger employer, you've got multiple locations, you've union, non-union, in different situations, it might give you the opportunity to change your standard measurement periods based on, okay, number 1, either whether they're collective or non-collectively bargained employees, 2, salaried versus hourly, 3, employees of different entities. So if you had a larger employer with multiple divisions or EIN, tax identification, different tax ID number companies, you certainly could change the standard measurement period to fit each of those divisions or organizations if you're in kind of a controlled group setting. And then lastly, employees located in different states. So what you might create or implement as a standard measurement period, let's say here in Pennsylvania, could be very different of the standard measurement period that you need to create for your Texas location, okay, or another location. So do know that that is certainly available. Administrative period. So the administrative period is the period of time once the standard measurement period has ended to give or provide an opportunity for the HR department, for the employer, to evaluate who has completed the standard measurement period and have they worked more than 30 hours or fewer than 30 hours. And it provides time for, the HR department to then determine who are the benefit eligible employees so that then they can start getting enrollment kits, folks can enroll in benefits for the coming new year. So the maximum time period for the administrative period is 90 days. And, you know, just like anything, you can't, just by having an administrative period doesn't allow an employer to somehow drop coverage for an employee. The duration of the administrative period, or through the duration of the administrative period, anybody that was enrolled in coverage or was able to have coverage, they would continue to have coverage even through that administrative period. Lastly, then, is you have a stability period. The stability period then comes or falls after the administrative period. And the stability period is that point in time where if an employee was determined in the standard measurement period that they work more than 30 hours, then through the administrative period, that individual is allowed to enroll, okay, and they can make their elections and enroll in that coverage. And then that employee who was granted that coverage would be able to continue that coverage throughout the entire stability period, regardless of the hours worked during that stability period. So it's tough to probably frame a lot of words or adjectives around this period, but stability is, it works, it works. Basically it says, look, if that employee was granted coverage or not granted coverage, the stability, they must be either, they must enroll and offer and be enrolled in that coverage or not, you know, through that entire stability period. So the stability period is at least 6 consecutive months. No shorter than the standard measurement period. So you see there to the left, the standard measurement period can be at least 3, but no more than 12 months. So if you selected, 3 months as a standard measurement period, the stability period must at least be 6 consecutive months. Okay, so it's really that period of time for any ongoing or initial new hired employees that have completed one standard measurement period. A note, as you see there at the bottom, the measurement period, this is for new hires, okay? The measurement period and the administrative period combined may not extend beyond the last day of the first calendar month beginning on or after the first year anniversary of the employee's start date. Now, as your eyes kind of roll back into your head there as I read that, I tried to write this next piece. Simply said, for a new hire that goes through the initial measurement period and then a corresponding or a subsequent administrative period, it can be no longer than 13 months and a fraction of days. I mean, just depending on when they were actually hired, okay? So just so you know, and I'll show you an example here today where I wanted to kind of touch on that here with you. All right. So let's review some case studies. This will be really the meat of our conversation here today, and so just getting a good, solid understanding in regard to what these measurement periods look like. I hope that this will paint a strong picture for you. As Mark Twain has stated here in my quote here today, a man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way. So maybe we learned as a young child when we pick up a cat by the tail. Hopefully we don't do that. But we pick up the cat by the tail. The cat doesn't like that so much, do they not, right? So we learn from experience that we don't do that. And so what I hope that these case studies will provide is some of that experience, provide some of the strategy really behind what this thing looks like. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of employers that we can actually see what they chose, and the case studies, you know, could certainly in the future, we could certainly drive data from that here in the future. But right now, we're going to look at some projections on what some of these might look like. So I'm going to show 3 companies, company A here. And the first one that I'm going to reflect is that a company that has a January 1, 2015 renewal. So we certainly have many employers and their health plans are going to renew at the beginning of the year. And so I wanted to use, I don't know, generally kind of let's start with an easy one here as we get started. So company A's health renewal falls on January 1st, 2015. And so the standard, sorry for the acronyms, but standard measurement period or the initial measurement period is going to be 12 months in length. The administrative period is going to be 1 month, and the stability period will be 12 months. So a 12, 1, and 12, okay, as we go through this. So as you see here on your screen, we're going to look at a calendar year renewal. We've got our years up above here, 2014, 15, and 16. And let's start taking a look here at what this might look like. So here's a company that is going to renew January 1st, 2015. And so as you see here, the standard measurement period that was selected, because the employer wanted a 1-month administrative period. So in talking with that employer, they just came to a determination, you know, 1 month based on our size and how we do things, that's going to be enough, okay, to do our evaluation and get the enrollment sent out for our employees. So what you do is you first want to determine the length of these periods. Very important. And it's going to differ, I mean, it can differ greatly, right? I mean, based on how the employer hires, how they fire, the turnover, you know, just if they're a little more cyclical or seasonal, you know, in nature in how they ultimately determine this. So by no means, what I'm showing you today in the case studies, employers could choose things certainly differently. These are not the only three, you know, ways in which to perform these measurement periods. So the standard measurement period, as you see here, would have started, so for a January 1, 2015 renewal, it would have started on December 1st, 2013. So what's important to remember here is, as you think about your renewals that are coming up for your employer groups in 2015, in many cases, employers will absolutely have to begin their measurement periods and monitoring that right now, but it will depend on the length of their measurement periods. So the first one here, so they've said that the standard measurement period for their ongoing employees will be 12/1/2013 through November 30th. Okay, so 12 months. At the end of that standard measurement period, now the standard measurement period is for all ongoing employees. So the vast array of the employee base will be lopped into that standard measurement period. Okay, and I'm going to show you an initial measurement period for a new hire here just shortly. So for ongoing employees, the standard measurement period is always going to be 12/1 through 11/30. 12/1 through 11/30. We then have a 1-month administrative period. And again, so as we complete that period, we need to evaluate and determine who exactly needs coverage or who exactly does not need coverage based on the hours that they work. So that standard measurement period is looking at the averaged hours over throughout the entire year, and if an employee has exceeded the 30 hours, then they would need to be offered coverage, okay, if the employer is certainly going to play. Now, keep in mind, I show this again because the standard measurement period is going to be consistent from year to year. The standard measurement period will always flow from 12/1 to 11/30, okay? But after each standard measurement period and the administrative period, they will go through their stability period, okay? So the stability period runs from 1/1/2015 through 12/31. Again, whomever had the ability to enroll in coverage as of 1/1, regardless of the hours worked in 2015, would have to continue their coverage throughout the entire stability period. Now you see also that the stability period runs in line with the health plan renewal. So something to just think about is that the stability period will oftentimes be, actually it will be, your health renewal time period. So if it renews January 1, the stability period should begin on, on that date and after. After the stability and the standard measurement period is complete, again, at the end of 2015 in December, we're going to again have the administrative period, and then again, we kind of go through the process. We have our standard measurement period that begins in December 2015 through 16. So as you see this from an ongoing employee basis, it is going to be static, meaning you're going to have a set standard measurement period a set administrative period and a set stability period. It's always going to flow in the same months, in the same length of time. Okay? And since I did have a 12-month standard measurement period, I have to have a 12-month stability period, because it at least has to equal or at least be 6 months or no less than the standard measurement period. Now let's look at a new hire. So we have these standard measurement periods that's going on throughout the process each and every year for all the ongoing employees, but we hire someone as of March 1st. Okay, and so as of March 1st of 2014, we have this new hire. Well, the initial measurement period now for 12 months begins for the new hire as of March 1st. So we have the corresponding regular or standard measurement period kind of going, and then concurrently, we now have this initial measurement period taking place. At the end of the measurement period, we have the standard administrative period, okay, for 1 month. And that's, again, to take some time to evaluate whether this new hire exceeded 30 hours or did not exceed the 30 hours, so that the employer knows whether to offer or not offer coverage to that individual. Keep in mind that it's only a 1 month administrative period as well, because I cannot exceed 13 months, some fractional days, but 13 months in regard to a new hire between the measurement period and the administrative period, okay? Lastly then is the stability period for that new hire. So you see, it's a different stability period. It's a different measurement period. So depending on how many new hires an employer might have throughout the year, let's just say this employer had 10 new hires for the year, well then theoretically, there would be 10 different initial measurement periods, administrative periods, and stability periods running concurrently throughout the entire year with the standard measurement period. One thing to note here as well with the new hire, once this, that the new hire will be measured or monitored through their initial measurement period, but also will begin to be included in the standard measurement period of the ongoing employees once a new standard measurement period has been created or had been started. Okay, so this particular new hire on March 1st, 2014 will also be measured in the standard measurement period of 12/1/2014 through 11/30. Okay, so kind of multiple measurement periods that a new hire can actually go through. To note, once the new hire has gone through their initial measurement period and the administrative period and stability period, from then on, they will actually be counted or only measured in the standard measurement period. Okay? Are you guys head spinning? No, because I'm making it easy, right? Okay. Let's show another example. Let's tweak this a little bit, if I may. So in this example, we now have company B who has a renewal on July 1st, 2015. So on July 1st, 2015, we're going to also utilize these parameters. So the standard measurement period and the initial measurement period will only now be 6 months. The administrative period will remain at 1 month, and the stability period will also be at 6 months. Okay, so here's a company. I don't know we didn't throw in different maybe attributes and characteristics of the employer, but this employer says, you know what, 6 months from a measuring, kind of a measuring stick for my employees is good. It's good for me, as far as an employer. And so they chose to do that. So we have 6, 1, and 6 that we're going to show you here. So company B, think July 2015 renewal, because some of you, again, might say, well, Steve, it's July 2015. My employers need to actually begin measuring? Well, again, depends on their length of the standard measurement periods, okay, and stability periods. In this example, I'm showing a 6-month standard measurement period. So if the employer wanted to utilize a 6-month standard measurement period along with a 1-month administrative period, then they need to start December 1st, 2014, and that would run through May 31st. Okay? Again, now we're only using 6 months instead of 12 months, but at the end of the measurement period, the administrative period still ensues. It's still the same evaluation. After that time, the stability period would begin, and the stability period is also at 6 months. It would run from July 1st, which is, again, at the health renewal, and run through the end of the year. And as you kind of keep going through the motions here, the standard measurement period, again, automatically kicks in again 12/1/2015 through May 31st. All right? The administrative period is certainly going to be there, and the stability period. Okay, so again, as you look at the structure for ongoing employees, these periods remain very static, okay? When you put it in a picture like this, hopefully it kind of lays it out, a little bit better. But again, let's throw in a new hire. So let's say we have somebody that's newly hired as of May 1st, 2015. Now you have a renewal that is July 1st, okay? This particular employee, we would assume that based on the facts and circumstances of them being hired and their job duties, that they would expect to work less or fewer than 30 hours a week. So if that's the case, the employer does not have to offer them coverage. But that new hire still needs to go through their initial measurement period. And so the new hire was May 1st. It's 6 months, so she would be measured from May 1st through October 31st of that year. Then that you have the administrative period specific to that employee, and then the stability period would be started as of 12/1. And so based on the hours, the actual hours worked from May 1st through 10/31 and through the administrative period, they're going to determine whether they need to offer coverage, and then they would either keep or not keep that coverage, during the stability period, whether they were offered it or not, okay, based on those hours worked. So keep in mind here as well that once this initial period is done, you notice up here the standard measurement period 12/1/2015. This new hire would be measured in his and her own measurement period, but then also begin the ongoing standard measurement period as of December 1st. All right? Crystal clear? Let's clear it up here even a little bit more. Let's look at a last case study here. For Company C, we have a March 1st, 2015 renewal, okay? And what we're going to do is switch it up here a little bit more, make it a little different. So the standard measurement period and initial measurement period will both be 9 months. The administrative period will be at 3 months. So now I'm going to the maximum. I'm taking as much time as an employer for the HR department to really determine and evaluate, listen, I need to get a full understanding of how many employees I'm going to need to be offering coverage to, or whom I do not need to be offering coverage. So a much longer administrative period here in this example. And then the stability period is at 9 months. So we have a 9/3/9, okay? So let's go here into this specific renewal. So I had mentioned March 1st, 2015. So for a 3-month administrative period and 9-month standard measurement period, that means that you need to begin the standard measurement period for an employer such as this as of March 1st, 2014, and that would go through the end of November of this year, okay? At the end of that time period, the administrative period would kick in. You see it's a little longer, just more time. Maybe this employer has considerable turnover or a very large employee base that is variable hour or potentially seasonal, and there's just a lot more to the evaluation that is needed. Then, just keeping in mind, the standard measurement period is always going to remain the same. You have to be consistent with that standard measurement period. And so that standard measurement period just kicks in again. That's starting 3/1 through 11/30 each and every year. Now, once the first standard measurement period has ended and the administrative period has ended, the stability period kicks in for the same 9 months. Again, keeping in mind the stability period can be no less than the standard measurement period. Okay, so the stability period would run also from 3/1 to 11/30/2015. Next, again, just following each line, because after each end to the standard measurement period, the administrative period kicks in, and again, so it just kind of goes down the line. So once you start to craft the length, the length for these measurement periods with the employer and really determine that, you can really nail that down. It's static, okay? The stability period, again, showing here, it's going to fall right in line with the health plan renewal year. So this has a March 1st renewal. The stability period starts March 1st. I mean, so you start to get some clarity, I think, with some of this as you kind of, as you get involved certainly with it a little bit more. Again, as part of a new hire, let's switch it up just a little bit. We now have a new hire that comes in July 15th. I mean, because when's the last time you hire somebody on the 1st of the month? I mean, you do that, but certainly probably not consistently. So we're going to assume here that an employee comes in at July 15th, okay, of 2014. The initial measurement period for a new hire is 9 months. So from 7/15 of 14 to April 14th of 2015, that new hire will be measured. Okay, at the end of that measurement period, they go through the same 3-month administrative period. Okay, so now just keeping in mind, a new hire you can't have longer than 13 months, right? So we're right where we need to be. 9 months of the standard measurement period, 3 months of the administrative period. We're good. We've got 12. We've got 12 months there, so we're solid. After the administrative period has ended, we now then have the stability period, that will be in place from July 15th through April 14th. Now, also just keep in mind, I just want to keep referencing it. So this new hire is being measured in their own initial measurement period, but starting March 1st, 2015, they will actually begin to be measured under the ongoing standard measurement period. So depending on the length of the periods, you can absolutely have one singular employee as a new hire be measured through the initial measurement period, and then also in conjunction with concurrently being measured through the standard measurement period as well. So just again, kind of keep that in in your heads there. Okay. So what I hope this did is to reflect that there actually are a lot of different strategies and ways that an employer could create their measurement periods. But what is very important, and I think a starting point, is look at your business, employer. Understand, how your employees kind of move through your system. How many employees do you expect to hire in the next year? What do you think your turnover rate is going to be in the coming year? And that's really going to help determine where an employer needs to establish these specific measurement periods. You might look at a couple of these and go, wow, I really like that. This particular, I like company A's better or C's. That's fine. I think these are starting points and ways for you to kind of show to an employer, hey, let me give you some ideas as to what this might look like. And painting the picture here, I think, would be extremely, helpful. Penalties for noncompliance, I think you all are very familiar with this. We have, though, 2 specific penalties. And, one, as it's been affectionately called, the sledgehammer penalty, and that's penalty A here, and that is the basic. So if you as an employer decide not to offer coverage, and as long as one employee receives a subsidy from healthcare.gov, then you've got this $2,000 penalty, certainly, minus 30, taking the number of full-time employees minus 30, but times that 2,000. So again, employers are going to have to determine, even in their measurement, whether, hey, this is, the penalty is not a big deal, it is a big deal, how do I want to attract, recruit employees, and what am I going to need to offer, as an employer to get and retain great talent. So penalty A is there. Penalty B, sometimes, again, affectionately called the tack hammer penalty, because it just kind of keeps being persistent there to get you. If you offer coverage, but not affordable coverage, then potentially you can receive up to a $3,000, that's an annual penalty for each employee receiving a subsidy. So that's kind of on a per employee that receives a subsidy basis. That's why it's sometimes called the tack hammer penalty. So understand this, the IRS will absolutely go through the verification process of an employee that goes on to healthcare.gov, goes on to the exchange, and receives a subsidy. And they're going to see whether that, are they employed, they have an employer. Ah, they have an employer. Okay, well, they received a subsidy. Now, employer, prove to me how this employee should, that you do not deserve a penalty because of either not offering coverage or not offering affordable coverage. And so that's why it's very important that all large employers measure their employees, because they're going to want to have that proof that, hey, I tracked them for the last 9 months through the standard measurement period, and they worked fewer than 30 hours. So I didn't have to offer coverage, and therefore I don't receive a penalty. So this is just proper due diligence that the employer will want to have in regard to any type of audit. Just looking at some discussion points. What's vastly important is, so here I've spent, the last almost an hour, over 45 minutes or so, just discussing this process and trying to dig a little deeper into the process. But you're going to have a similar conversation with many of your, certainly your larger clients, those clients on the bubble. And so I love this quote from Jim Rohn, which says this: to be a master communicator, all you have to do is follow a simple 3-step process. First, have something good to say. That would be appropriate. Second, say it well. And third, say it often. And I think this is just so apropos here in regard to the discussion here today, because when I first began to look at these measurement periods, I must have reread the thing, how many times before it really started to sink in my own mind. And so I just think it's going to take some time. I think you have, with this particular subject, you have a really something good to say, and you will speak it well, but you will need to say it often, because I think that from an employer perspective, they're going to need to have a good understanding in regard to, what are their choices, what strategies should they use, and so forth. So how do I discuss this? How do you discuss this with your employers? Yes, as with the first bullet point, the employer mandate is delayed, right, until 2015. You know what? There's plenty of discussion out there right now in regard to, will it be delayed another year? Who knows, right? So we're kind of going with what we have here today. But what you need to look at, and as you may have already, is you need to determine which employers are sitting on the bubble, or certainly clearly over the 50 full-time equivalents. Those employers that, definitely look at those employers that have maybe 35 benefited employees today. You may not know how many variable hour employees that they employ. And so it will be important for you to not just discount somebody that has 30 employees or 40 employees, because they could clearly have, through the variable hour structure, they could have enough full-time equivalent or enough variable hour employees to get you above the full-time equivalent 50 number. So definitely find out who those employers are. Depending on the plan year effective date, you need to consider, the following. The length of the measurement period, what is best? And like I said, I wish I could sit here today and say, the standard will be X or Y. We're not there yet. I don't know if we've necessarily seen a standard, what all employers are primarily going to kind of move towards. I think it will be different, or can be different, for each and every employer based on their needs. So work with your employers in determining what that looks like. Once you determine that length, that really is going to tell you exactly when you need to start. And I would say for most employers that have renewals in 2015, they will have it at some point in 2015, they will probably need to begin sometime in 2014. And in fact, if they're a January 1, February, or March, they may need to begin right now in regard to that measurement. another key discussion is how will this measurement of ongoing and new hired employees get completed? How will this actually get done? Many employers might have expressed to you already that, we don't even know how we're going to get this done. I mean, are we going to have to, will we rely on you, the broker, the benefits professional? Will you as an agency maybe take that on? According to the poll, about 46% say, I don't know, I'm unsure. I don't know how I'm going to be involved, maybe in that. But then a third of you said, yes, you are. So, okay, interesting. So what does that look like from an administrative burden side on you as an agency? So that's a consideration. Second is in-house. Certainly I've talked with many employers that say, you know what, we're going to hire somebody just to monitor these measurement periods. Or maybe they buy a software solution of some kind, who knows, right? As far as what they might do in-house. Or maybe they outsource it. Possibly it's certainly a payroll provider like a PrimePay, or just they outsource it in another fashion to another vendor of some kind to really get that done. And I think the market will certainly show more of this. It'll be much more expressive as far as what options might be available here in the coming months and certainly year. Lastly, though, you need to drive a solution. And with what I have kind of walked you through here today, I think it really should lay a strong framework for how you might discuss this with your employers. But a solution is important. I want to mention at least one option that's certainly for you. PrimePay, as many of you know, we're a national payroll provider, business service. Actually, we're involved in employee management and a lot of just employee management solutions. One of the things that we are rolling out here, here in March, is a healthcare reform report bundle. And this is available actually free to our payroll clients, so those employers using PrimePay's payroll solution. And it contains 3 reports. The first report is a large employer report, and it does 2 things. First, it determines your full-time equivalents. So fortunately, payroll contains really all of the data needed in regard to the variable hours, seasonal, all the W-2 employees, whether they're owners, part-time, full-time, it has that full scope of information assigned with that. So our report will help the employer determine exactly how many full-time equivalents do you have. It will also maintain all of the measurement periods. So it will maintain the ongoing and initial measurement periods for each employer. We also will contain in this bundle an affordability report. What we're able to do within payroll is to look at the anticipated taxable wages for that employee, for each employee, and determine, based on the employer contribution to that lowest cost minimum value plan, right, the single coverage, we can determine whether the employer contribution is meeting that 9.5%, so that any particular employee is not contributing more than 9.5% of their income towards that toward those premiums. And so this report specifically addresses to the employer and lists or spells out exactly which employees, these 5 employees, it's not affordable to them. Okay, so that provides the employer an ability to be able to maybe recalibrate what they are going to be offering. And then lastly is a small business healthcare tax credit report. I know a lot of you here on the webcast, and as PrimePay, you guys have a lot of small employers, right? Many employers that are 2 lives, 10 lives, and so forth. The small business healthcare tax credit is specific to those small employers that wish to qualify for the small business healthcare tax credit. And so what this report does is that it enables a small employer to see whether their average wages is fewer than 50,000, if their head count is below 25 full-time equivalents, and the report specifically states, hey, based on your average wages and number of employees, you look to receive a 50% credit or a 35% credit or whatever it may be. And so that's a specific report. And how it works is that the reporting bundle is customized for each employer and then drilled down on an employee basis. Our Prime Pros, which are our payroll specialists, they work with each employer to ensure the proper settings are used. So we gather the measurement period. So once you have spoken with your employers and determined the length of those measurement periods, that's what we capture, and we put it into the payroll system. And then each month, at the month end, the payroll triggers the generation of these reports and delivery. So each of these 3 reports would be automatically generated at each month-end payroll run. And each employer can see exactly which employee as a new hire, where they are through the initial measurement period. They can look at all the employees that are currently involved in the ongoing, the standard measurement period, and really follow that through to the very end. And so we're excited about delivering on these reports. Certainly as a solution, we're continually trying to find ways to create value-added solutions for you as a broker to get to your clients and drive real strategy, the strategy that they need to make it easy. So I hope today that we've been able to reflect what these these measurement periods are all about, what it looks like. I see so many questions, and unfortunately, due to time, I don't have time to certainly go through these on the webcast today, but we will take every opportunity. I will create a frequently asked question of all the questions that were listed here today, and we will provide that back as content when we send you the presentation, the presentation slide deck and the recorded link to you here by the end of the week. So definitely look for that here coming. One other thing that I want to mention, we are trying to hold more of these types of webinars next month, March 5th. We are going to be offering a 1-hour CE credit, continuing education credits for life and health, those who are licensed and need those credits. It is going to be on understanding payroll fundamentals to really manage ACA compliance. You won't want to miss it. It will be a very good understanding of how your employers are utilizing payroll and the solutions through payroll to really truly help manage their ACA compliance. And I think it'll be very important for you to kind of get a good solid understanding of what that is. We've applied for the credit in most of the states that we are in that you would be involved with, but look for more information here in just the next couple weeks, and we'll outline for you which states we have that approved in or those that might be pending, but we will certainly provide that information to you. So with that, that will conclude our webinar here today. I really, truly appreciate the time that you have taken to at least take time out of your busy schedules to sit with us today. We're appreciative of our partnership with you, and we will continue to find ways to equip you with more and more of these types of strategies and information. So with that, be safe out there. If you're in the snow and ice, be safe. If you're out west, gosh, enjoy the sun. But enjoy your day, and come back here again next month when we will provide this our CE webinar here next month. Have a great day. This will conclude our webinar.